Yo, welcome to the show. World War II flow. Saoirse Teagan lyric, ready to go.
Saoirse with the facts.
Teagan digs deep. Lyric tells the stories. History we keep. World War II tales from front to home. Learning the past wherever we roam. Tune in, get ready for a journey back with Saoirse Teagan lyric on track.
Came in from the sea that morning with a terrific volume of firepower.
D-Day, 5:10 a.m. The guns of the Royal Navy battleship HMS Warspite were the first to fire. The pivotal battle, the beginning of the end of Nazi Germany, was
The
underway.
men of the armies marched toward the southern ports. Equipment rolled down the roads. Men and machines took their places in the waiting ships. The men were British, American, Canadian, some of them veterans of Africa, Sicily, and Italy, some new to battle.
The Allies, primarily Canada, the US, and the United Kingdom, had been planning a large-scale invasion of Western Europe to open up a new front against Nazi Germany. This was crucial to relieve pressure on the Eastern Front, where Soviet forces were engaged in heavy fighting against the Nazis. Operation Fortitude also played a crucial role in the success of this battle. This was misleading the Germans about the invasion's location and timing.
So the Battle of Normandy started on June 6, 1944, more commonly known as D-Day, and it was split into two separate parts: Operation Overlord, which was the land and the air attacks, and Operation Neptune, which was the naval attack.
Through deception tactics such as fake radio traffic, dummy equipment, and a fictional army under General George Patton, the Allies convinced the Germans that the invasion would happen in Pas-de-Calais rather than Normandy. They drew away the German defenses and significantly weakened their response to the real invasion.
So Operation Overlord actually used over 5,000 ships and landing craft to land over 150,000 men to 5 beaches in Normandy, France. The 5 beaches in question were the Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. And the most well-known part of this battle was D-Day. Although this day is commonly associated with Normandy, D-Day is actually a term to describe any starting day of any military operation, any large military operation. And fun fact, the D in D-Day stands for day, making its official name Day-Day. I thought that was kind of silly. It made me laugh when I first heard it, so I thought it would be a fun fact to share. And the Battle of Normandy allowed the Allies to open up a second front against Nazi Germany. It had been the Allies' goal since early 1941 to defeat Germany by opening up a second front, as this would relieve pressure from the Soviet Union, and French liberation would weaken Nazi forces in Western Europe. If the battle was successful, it would begin draining Germany's resources and limit access to key military sites, allowing the Allies to establish a presence in Northern Europe for the first time since the 1940 evacuation from Dunkirk. At the end of the battle, which was August 21st, 1944, it was unfortunately deemed a greater loss than a victory, despite the Allies winning, as of the major loss in people.
The great air forces went once more into the attack, in strength. Again the air vibrated with the roar of hundreds of bombers and fighters. Airfields, communications, and enemy troops were strafed and blasted. Every bridge over the Seine between Paris and the coast was wrecked.
So, if this was considered an Allied victory, why was it still such a great loss for the Allied men? Let me tell you. So, during this battle, there were 209,000 Allied casualties, 8% of these men being Canadian soldiers, and that being 11% of all men who went into that battle. So, despite the fact that we had 50,000 German captives and 300,000 German casualties, this still makes this a great loss for the Allied military. On July 7th, Allies extensively bombed the city of Caen. British and Canadian troops enter and soon liberate the city, but over 2,000 tons of bombs were dropped on the city. On July 23rd, Canadians took control of the Eastern Front. On July 30th, Americans seized the avalanches on the west coast of the Coton Peninsula, and after withstanding a counterattack, captured a bridge at Pont-Thibault. This passage would assist in paving the way to Brittany towards the River Loire and the River Scance. On August 8, 1944, south of Caen and on the heels of a heavy bombardment,
1st Canadian Army mounts a massive and well-planned armor attack and, in the process, moves closer to Falaise. On August 16, 1944, Canadians fight their way into Falaise. Soon, most of the German forces in Normandy, between 150,000 and 200,000 men, are trapped. Thousands of Germans manage to escape as the opening in the area is blocked off.
Of men. At a pace never equaled, his Third Army swept across the continent of Europe. No American leader was more colorful and more successful.
General George Patton was the leader of the fictional army in Pas-de-Calais. He was born in 1985 and attended the Virginia Military Institute and the United Military Academy at West Point. In his youth, he studied fencing and even designed his own saber. He competed in the 1912 Summer Olympic pentathlon in Stockholm, and he died in 1945. Patton also notably commanded the Black Panthers, a well-known first-of-its-kind company of African-American soldiers, to numerous important victories.
In General Pershing's words, it didn't hurt America to have a general so bold that he was dangerous.
Patton was known for his strict, demanding attitude and his intolerance from any signs of weakness from his soldiers, even if said weakness was exhaustion from combat. Although Patton may not have been the easiest to work under at times, and he had a few unlikable traits, there were many things about him that were highly admired. For example, Patton was one of the few, if not the only general, to fight at the front of the battlefield leading his troops. Many generals, as distinguished as they may be, would fight, well, if they fought, at the back, hiding behind their soldiers and their troops, for protection or to guide them from behind. Now, not to mention the dozens of awards he's won. Some examples: he's won the Purple Heart, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Distinguished Service Cross, and the Legion of Merit. That's just to name a few, but he has many more. During the First War, Patton found himself with a large interest in tanks, as he saw their potential. He was the first tank commander, and it seems this interest was found to be useful in the Second War when he set a well-planned tank trap for Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Rommel's father was a teacher, as his grandfather had been, and his mother was the daughter of a senior official. A career in the army began to be considered fashionable after the establishment of the German Empire in 1871, and so Rommel strayed from his family's tradition and joined in 1910 of the 124th Infantry Regiment as an officer cadet. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel is most remembered for his leadership of German and Italian forces in the North African campaign, establishing his reputation as one of the best tank commanders of the war. It earned him the nickname the Desert Fox, and he was the most popular general at home and gained the respect of his enemies with his spectacular victories. In 1944, Rommel was entrusted with the defense of France's Channel coast against a possible Allied invasion. From his experience in North Africa, he believed the only way to protect the beaches was by preventing the enemy from reaching a bridgehead. To do so, he very strongly and very controversially advocated for reserve forces behind the coastal defense works for counterattacks. In 1938, after Austria's annexation by Germany, Colonel Rommel was appointed commandant of the officers' school. At the beginning of the Second War, he was appointed commander of the troops guarding the Führer's headquarters and became personally known by Hitler.
Marschall Rommel ist tot. Der Held von Afrika, der 2 Jahre lang durch eine wendige und einfallsreiche Führung und einen großen persönlichen Mut eine vielfache Übermacht des Feindes in Schach hielt.